The Vanguard with the hammer, boys. Is that a dread? Is it dreadnought? Is this bigger? That's bigger, isn't it? This Vanguard Thunderhammer grenade launcher build, yes, you heard me right, folks. The Vanguard using a Thunderhammer is an absolute monster. This is made possible by the recently released Astartes Mod, which has been made by Warhammer Workshop. Shout out to them. And it has breathed a new lease of life into Space Marine 2 for me. This mod allows us to equip any weapon on any class, making some really nutty combos possible. Along with this, it also alters the spawns of enemies and introduces some really cool things such as boss lictors and dreadnoughts appearing during our runs, and I will be covering this mod in more detail in future videos, so be sure to drop the video a like and a sub to the channel to keep up to date. I've also dropped the link in the description if you would like to go and download the mod. Now, coupling the Thunderhammer with the plasma pistol and the grenade launcher really allows us to lean into the Vanguard's toolkit heavily, even more so than before, and the immense stunability and power of the Thunderhammer makes it much more straightforward to take advantage of the Vanguard's health regen mechanics. The playstyle for this build is very simple. Take everything you knew about the Assault class and animation cancelling combos from the Thunderhammer and implement them here, weaving in charge shots from your plasma pistol and or grenades from our auto bolter, and try to pick up as many stuns as possible to allow us to get in quickly and pull off executes to keep our health topped off. This really accelerates the gameplay mechanics of the Vanguard and makes for a very enjoyable and refreshing experience. You will benefit much more from melee mastery with its 10% increase to damage to Majoris enemies when using this high damaging hammer, and you will also be getting much more mileage out of Adrenaline Rush with the 10% increased health regen. The class now really excels in up close and personal combat with the plasma pistol and the hammer being utilised. In terms of the Thunderhammer and the animation cancelling mentioned, here is a reminder for my assault video. Look at this damage on the Hellbrute, man. We are cooking. Absolutely deleted. So there are a few things that you need to get your head around to start with, and they are animation cancelling and just knowing which attacks to use and when. So I'm going to demonstrate a few key ingredients here, and the first one is very simple. Just do pommel strikes to initiate attacks on small enemies. This opens up a gun strike instantly and allows you to get armor back, and since they implemented this mechanic into the game with the recent update, you can stay alive for a long time, and I will try and layer over some footage during this section so you can see it in action as well as me demonstrating it here. Now, the most important thing that I can teach you today is making sure you are taking advantage of animation cancelling, and this is very, very simple. All you need to do to cancel an animation is hit parry. You see that there? So I'm in the middle of this, hit parry, and it stops the animation. If you watch again, watch this. Look how much longer that takes. There's such a long tail to it, and that can really catch you out. So by using that, we break that cycle, and it lets us get our attacks in quicker. You might be like, well, FaZe, what's so good about that? Let me show you. So if I do a regular attack rotation with the start of a pommel strike, and then a light into a heavy, and I'm sat there in the animation, I can speed things up. If I go pommel, light, heavy, cancel, charge up, and now I've got my aftershock, and this thing absolutely slaps. And the beauty of this, folks, is you can use this technique to chain together attacks that you wouldn't usually be able to get off as quickly due to the long animation tail. So if you watch this one, we can go light, heavy, animation cancel, straight into an aftershock. As soon as we see the lightning, we can go boom, boom, and then you can animation cancel again and go light, straight back into it again with a heavy, chain it again and go back into a long aftershock. You can charge it right up to get even more damage, but if you're feeling like you're in a bit of a pinch, you can just go light and then straight into that block, and then a small one. As soon as you see the lightning, let go, boom, boom. In fact, you can probably do it faster, folks. You could just go light, hold it, animation cancel, go. Choice is yours, folks. And obviously when you're using things like the jump attack and you go in, you crash, light, heavy, and you can go even quicker than that. If you're in a real pinch, what you could do is you could open with pommel, cancel, and then just hold it down straight away and go straight away. Boom, boom, cancel, hold it down again. Boom, boom. There's loads of combos. You just need to play around with it and get a feel for it, folks. But this is your end goal, really. The more attack window you have, the more you can concentrate on looping it for longer periods of time. But I find that in the heat of battle, it's usually absolutely destroyed. Hilarious. In terms of the perks, it's a pretty straightforward Vanguard build with a couple of caveats. We're starting off straight away with melee mastery. Melee damage increases by 10% with Majora's level enemies and higher. This is just because the Thunder Hammer is so strong. That percentage increase is going to be felt much more, and you can feel it, folks, believe me. In the second column, we go with Duelist. Perfect parry window increased by 50%. It just makes our life much easier. In this third column, now that we're using the Thunder Hammer, we can still go with honed reactions. When your health is less than 50%, your perfect dodge window is doubled. However, because we're now using the hammer and because of the way lethal works, Retribution's not a bad shout. After you are grabbed or knocked back, and that can happen a lot in the fracas, for want of a better phrase, you deal 20% more melee damage for 10 seconds. Because we're smashing around with the hammer so much, this is absolutely massive. And then, of course, our team perk is Inner Fire. All squad members can restore ability charge by 15% by performing finishers. You're hard pressed to find anything different, but you could go with the melee champion for that 15% increased melee damage if you're interested there. Choice is yours. And then, pretty cookie cutter here, Shockwave, diving kicks, do an additional bit of damage within a 5-meter radius into tip of the spear. Enemies hit by diving kicks take 15% more range damage to support our team there. And then, in the second to last column, we've got combat readiness just to get grapnel launcher up quicker by 20%. And then, of course, everybody's favorite on the Vanguard, the adrenaline rush. Melee kills on Majora's enemies or higher restores 10%. You will be getting so much more health because of the way the hammer works and how much you are stunning things with your grenades, with your hammer, with your plasma pistol. It's absolutely bonkers. You can keep your health topped off much easier. I do wonder if this is the reason why the Vanguard hasn't been given naturally the option to use different weapons and they have the toolkit they have, because man, you can really feel it with this setup, folks. Our choice of weapon is Gathalamor Crusade with the grenade launcher. It's our only choice because it's the only one that has a grenade launcher. In terms of the bolt rifle, I'll go through the perks really quickly. It starts off with Headhunter for more headshot damage, then Adamant Hunter for more headshot damage when under 30% health, then Fast Reload for fast reload, then down to the bottom row for Perpetual Precision with maximum spread decreasing by 10%. Able Precision, after using a class ability, maximum spread decreases by 25% for 5 seconds. Great Might, 10% against Terminus enemies. Cleaving Fire, shots will penetrate enemy block stances, dealing 25% of usual damage. Quite useful against warriors, might I add. Rampage, now this is the cookie cutter part of the build. Rampage gives us 25% increased damage when we kill 10 enemies in quick succession. Because you are spamming a grenade launcher, that's pretty easy to do when you're firing into hordes of chaff, and you will have that 25% up as often as you possibly can if you play this clever. And finally, Extended Magazine for 15% increased mag size, Tyrannid Eliminator for an increase in 10% damage against Tyrannids, and Honed Precision, equipped weapons maximum spread decreases by 25% when firing without aiming. I could take that away actually and maybe pop it up here into the headshot damage. In terms of our secondary weapon, we're going with the plasma pistol, and I've gone with Aphelion Liberation purely because it has the largest ammo reserve. And in terms of the perks, we're going straight across the top for Common Cooling, which generates less heat with common shots, then on to Rapid Cooling, which is 10 enemies killed in rapid succession, stops your weapon from heating, very nice with those AoE kills against Minoris enemies. And then this is what we're actually looking for, folks, things like damage radius from a charge shot increased by 5%. And again here, this charging your shot faster by 20%. That makes it possible for us to do the combo that I mentioned where we're charging our shots off after landing a parry and a gun strike. It just lets us get in there. And this is where you have a decision to make. You can continue to go across the top and get another 20% faster charge rate. That is an option. And then you could continue to go across here to continue to lean into the charge shots. I personally prefer to go down here and look at energy reserve of plasma weapons being increased by 20% and just giving ourselves a little bit more ammo economy because we're already really strapped in that department, and that takes us to retaliation, which gives us that nice 25% increased damage for 5 seconds after a perfectly timed dodge. Moving on to the hammer, we're using Aphelion Liberation, and this is purely because of the fencing defense stat on it. It makes the parries much easier, and you'll be doing this a lot, folks, so no surprises there. And into the perk tree, it's straight across the bottom, folks. We've got Perpetual Strength for 5%. We've got Aftershock preparation time being reduced by 30% with fast prep. We've got Perpetual Strength again for 5%. Shattering Impact, the ground slam area effect radius is increased by 50%. Absolutely awesome. Then we've got Seismic Chain. After performing a ground slam, hold the attack button to perform an additional ground slam. Yes, please. Absolutely awesome. And then Perpetual Strength for 5% more. Of course, our Tyrannid Slayer for another 10% more damage against Tyrannid Slayer for 10% more damage against, of course, Tyrannids. And then Kill Streak. After 10 enemies have been killed in rapid succession with a light combo, you don't lose control. And then the final 3, Aftershock, improved Aftershock. Aftershock improved. Hang on. And then into the final 3, Aftershock improved. Aftershock gains an additional spin. Lovely. Menorah Slayer, melee damage against Menorah's enemies increased by 20%. Really nice with that perk that we just looked at, which gives us the opportunity to splat as many as possible. That gives us more charge back. That just makes things even quicker there. And then finally, Dead End, Pommel Smash, the thing that we used to initiate with a lot, the diving attack. 50% more damage there, folks. If you're looking for an incredibly powerful Plasma Incinerator build for the Tactical Marine, check out this next video. It's got you covered. Take care of yourselves, keep having fun, come check out a stream on YouTube or Twitch, and I'll see you in the next one.